Hello, everyone. The drama begins by introducing our female lead, whose name is Tong Jia. Tong Jia is standing in a hospital, watching a news report. The news is about Shen Yaxi, who was her ex-boyfriend and is the male lead of our drama. We learn that he has just returned from abroad and has become a very successful businessman. He is also bringing many revolutions to the medical field. This takes us into a flashback to 5 years ago. Tong Jia and Shen Yaxi were boyfriend and girlfriend and were university students at the time. But someone posts some indecent photos of Tong Jia on a notice board, which causes everyone to question her character. Seeing this, she is very upset. Yaxi arrives, takes down the photos, and tells her, "This is all a lie. You couldn't do something like this. I know these are fake." But she says, "They're not fake. They're real." Yaxi asks, "I'm your boyfriend, so who is the man in these photos with you?" Just then, another man named Lu appears from above. He comes and supports Tong Jia. Yaxi asks, "Tell me the truth, is this the guy in the photos?" Tong Jia tells him, "Yes, it is, and we are getting married very soon. You know that Lu and I are childhood friends and we were sweethearts. I hid this from you, and I'm marrying him soon. I cheated on you and never really loved you. I just used you as a stepping stone to get into this university and to get other things." Hearing this, Yaxi says, "Tell me the truth. You're lying, right? Are you playing a prank?" He then noticed that the couple's tattoo they both got on their hands, the one with his name, was now missing from Tong Jia's hand. Seeing this hurts him deeply, and she leaves, telling him, "I never loved you." She was lost in these memories when we see her in the present, standing in the hospital with her dad. A bully cuts in line and even harasses her father, which leads to a fight between her and the bully. He pushes her and she falls into someone's arms. This person is none other than Yaxi. Just then, another girl named Yishi comes from behind and says to Yaxi, "I finished my medical checkup for the wedding at the GYN department." Seeing this, Tong Jia assumes that Yishi is his fiancée and that they are getting married soon. Yaxi notices Tong Jia's expression, takes Yishi's hand, and lovingly leads her away. However, we then find out that Yishi is actually Yaxi's sister, and she is marrying someone else. She tells her brother, "I know you used me. That was Tong Jia, the girl you loved in university, right? Why don't you talk to her? Try to clear things up. Maybe there was a misunderstanding." But he flatly refuses. Just then, we see Lu arrive, who is now a doctor. Tong Jia's father's condition is quite serious. His kidneys are damaged, so he often needs dialysis, which leads to very high medical expenses. He has been helping them a lot with hospital admissions and his treatments. Today, as he is talking to Tong Jia about this, Yaxi sees them together and becomes filled with rage. Tong Jia gets a call and steps aside to answer it. Someone is demanding she pay back a debt. She keeps begging and pleading, asking for more time, saying a contract of hers is about to be approved and she will pay them back then. Yaxi, who came up behind her, overhears everything. Yaxi has become so depressed that he has even started smoking. After hearing her conversation on the phone, Yaxi realizes she's going through a financial crisis. He starts taunting her, saying, "I thought you would be living your dream life, but it seems you're suffering the consequences for what you did to me." She tries to ignore him and walk away, but he grabs her and pins her against the wall. She notices that the tattoo of her name is gone from his wrist. This hurts her, but she tells him, "You're getting married soon. This kind of behavior doesn't suit you." But he drags her to the stairs and says to her in private, "You cheated on me, and now you're going to teach me about etiquette? You should be ashamed." He starts to touch her and says, "Look, you cheated on me once, so why not cheat on your fiancé now? He's just a simple doctor, and I'm the owner of this hospital. I can get him a promotion if you want, but in return, you'll have to spend time with me. For a cheater like you, that shouldn't be a big deal." Just then, Lu comes looking for her on that side. He calls out to her and then calls her phone. Yaxi snatches her phone and answers the call. Tangjia tells Lu, "You wait for me, I'll be there in a bit." On this, Yaxi tells her, "Wow, you're so experienced at cheating." Lu hears their voices and asks Tangjia, "Are you having another attack? Are you feeling unwell?" She shouts back, "I beg you, please just leave from here for once." Hearing about her illness, Yaxi gets worried about her. He asks, "What happened to you? How sick are you? Is it something serious?" But she tells him, "I just have a headache, nothing else. And now our paths are separate. You're getting married too, and I'm also going to be Lu's bride very soon. So from now on, you don't need to call me. We're getting married very soon, and after that we'll build our own home and have children too. So it's better if you stay away from my life." Hearing this, Yaxi gets angry again. He says, "After cheating on me and making me suffer for all these years, you think you can live a normal life with this Lu? That's your dream? I will never let you live in peace." He gives her an open challenge that he will make her life hell. And with that, we are shown a flashback that reveals Tangjia actually did nothing wrong. Her indecent photos were taken by her stepbrother. Her dad had married a woman who already had a son. He was so angry that he had said, "If my mom married your dad, I will take revenge on you." He had given her some drugs and then tried to force himself on her. Before doing this, he had also taken many photos of Tangjia. Here, Tangjia somehow gathers herself, resists, and then her hand finds a pair of scissors.
And with the scissors, she attacked Feng. Now Feng was badly injured. Just then her dad also arrived. He snatched the weapon from his daughter's hand and finished Feng off himself. In the middle of this fight, her dad was severely wounded, and this is where his kidney was damaged. In the end, her stepmom also took her own life and her son was already dead. After that, Tangjia and her dad were taken away by the police. Tangjia knew that she no longer had the same respect or honor to stand as an equal with Yaxi. Besides, she knew that one day, after the investigation was over, the police would come and take her and her dad away. That's why she had separated her path from Yakshi's. And Lu, who lived near her building and was her childhood friend, knew everything. She had included Lu in her plan and presented a bad image of herself in front of Yakshi so that he would hate her, leave her, and live a normal life because Tangjia felt that she was no longer worthy of him. After hurting Yakshi, she herself was deeply hurt. Once again, Yakshi had called her. And that's when we find out that she had intentionally hidden the tattoo of Yakshi's name on her hand so he would think badly of her. When Yakshi's call came, she scolded him harshly saying, "When will you stop following me like a dog? I don't love you." And that was the last call. After that, Yakshi never contacted her again. He went abroad, became a very powerful businessman, and had now returned, ready to take revenge on her. Tangjia was already living under a lot of tension and had some psychological issues since that incident. Today, she has another attack and is about to take some medicine for relief when her dad arrives. It seems to her that it is Feng in her dad's form trying to lay hands on her again. She picks up the scissors again and tries to attack her dad. The poor girl's mental health was not at all right. Her dad barely manages to control her and takes all the blame on himself, saying, "I wish I had never married that lady and then her son would never have done this to you, which led to your current state." But Tangjia loved her dad very much. She tells him, "Don't say such things." Her dad also felt that since he got injured, he had become a burden on Tangjia. He says, "I won't get dialysis anymore." But Tangjia tells him, "I'm about to sign a contract very soon, and after that I'll have plenty of money. Don't you worry at all. I'll continue a treatment myself." But the next day, as soon as Tangjia goes to the office, she finds out that her contract has been given to someone else. And it was Lily who got the project. And it was none other than their biggest client, Yakshi, who had taken her project away. Today he stands in front of her with Lily and once again tries to hurt her. He deliberately gets close to Lily and right there Tangjia takes some photos of him. And with that we see a flashback. When Yakshi and Tangjia broke up, he was lost in his thoughts walking somewhere when he had an accident in which his hand was badly damaged. And because of that wound, the tattoo of Tangjia's name on his hand was also erased. At that time, he had called Tangjia, saying, "Please come and help me." But Tangjia didn't listen to him at all and cut the call, saying, "Stop following me like a stray dog." And at that moment, Yakshi was so heartbroken that he left everything behind, got his treatment, and went abroad. Today, when he remembers all his suffering, he damages his hand again. He had also called Tangjia to his house today to talk about that same contract. And Tangjia, who was very desperate because of her dad's treatment, goes there. But after arriving, he tells her, "Okay, I'll give you back the contract, but you know what I want from you in return." She says, "I know, you want my body. Okay, I'm ready to do that too." But he says, "What do you think of yourself? I'm not going to ask you for that. I want to say, break up with that Lu. Leave him." So Tangjia asks him, "Does that mean you still like me today?" But Yakshi says, "Stop thinking so highly of yourself. I just can't see you happy." And as he tries to blackmail her, she starts blackmailing him back, saying, "I have taken a photo of you with Lily, and now I will send this photo to everyone and show them that you had a relationship with Lily, which is why you gave this contract to her. And also your fiancé whom I saw in the hospital that day, she will also see all this, and what will she think of you? She'll break off the engagement with you too." But the poor girl didn't know that Yakshi couldn't be blackmailed by these things. And anyway, the girl Yishi who was seen that day was his sister. He immediately grabs her hands and pins her against the wall. In response to this, Tangjia slaps him across the face. She tells him, "You are sexually harassing me." But he says, "You have no proof of that. But I have enough proof that you blackmailed me." And with that, he shows her a camera installed there and says, "Do you know what the punishment for blackmailing is?" And he calls his assistant saying, "Take this lady to the police station right now. And anyway, I want to file a case against her for blackmailing." Yakshi was very powerful. He could hire the best lawyer, while Tangjia was very weak. Just then, Lu's call starts coming on her phone. She struggles to pick up the call because she knew that her dad had an important treatment that night.
And Lu would be calling about that. But Yaxi snatches her phone. When he sees her struggling so desperately for Lu's call, he tells her, "I'm not going to let you take this call." She repeatedly begs him, "I'm ready to give you whatever you want from me, but let me take this call." But he doesn't listen to her at all. However, during their struggle, Tangjia's bracelet breaks and falls. And just then, he sees the tattoo of his name on her hand. Seeing this, he is shocked and confused for a moment. He asks her, "What is this?" But Tangjia thinks, "He's getting married. Why should I become a burden for him by telling him all these things?" So she tells him, "To convince you, to get you to agree to this contract, I got the tattoo redone. I thought maybe you'd be happy to see it and say yes." But this makes him even angrier. Now the poor girl has ended up at the police station. And here she repeatedly pleads with them, "Let me make one call to my dad." But they say you can't call anyone except your lawyer or Yaxi. She gets him to call Yaxi and starts begging him, "My dad is not well today. What if something happens to him? Please let me go." But he doesn't listen to her at all. After spending a night in the station, the next morning Yaxi arrives with his lawyer. She asks him about her dad, and he says, "Now you're feeling the pain, aren't you? Did you ever think about how much pain I was in back then?" And with that, the poor girl completely breaks down and says, "I can't compete with you. You become so mighty. What do you want from me now?" And with that, we find out that actually Yaxi was also worried about her dad and had spent the whole night outside the hospital so that if something happened to her dad, he could help them in time. But he wasn't telling Tangjia any of this. He wasn't a beast, he was just trying to be one. Here, Tangjia Iner kisses him once and says, "This is what you want from me, right?" But he says, "Absolutely not. Since when did you think I'm that kind of person?" And with that, Yaxi's stomach starts to hurt. She gets worried about him for a moment, but he says no need to show so much care, it's just a little upset stomach. "And yes, I've come to make a settlement with you. Go to my house right now and prepare dinner for me. If I like it, maybe I'll forgive you." Then she goes to his house with him and starts preparing dinner for him. Here she is making dumplings for him. And seeing her cooking in his kitchen, Yaxi starts to remember old memories. They used to cook together just like this. And Yaxi always used to eat dumplings with ketchup. And she used to tell him, "You're the weirdest person in the world. Nobody eats dumplings with ketchup like this." And even today she remembered everything he liked and disliked. Yaxi is watching her cook so lovingly when she asks him, "What did you come here for?" He scolds her and says, "You're so slow, I'll probably get my food in the morning after the night is over." Just then he picks up her phone lying there and starts looking at it. He enters her birthday as the password, but it doesn't work. After that, when he enters his own birthday, the password works. Seeing this, his heart melts for a moment, thinking maybe it's still me in her heart. He gets up and is about to tell her, "I'm going to forgive you." But just then a message from Lou arrives on her phone. It says, "Come back early today. I need to talk to you about the marriage." And seeing this message, Yaxi's heart breaks again. And he says to himself, how can I be so soft-hearted? How can I forget all the cruelty she subjected me to? I'm only here to take revenge. Well, after a lot of hard work, Tang Jia finally has dinner ready for him. She comes to him, sets down the dinner, but he ruins the dinner and soup she had made with so much love and gives it to his dog. And when the dog doesn't eat it either, he tells her, even dogs don't eat food like this. What did you think, that if you make my favorite dish like this, I'll forgive you? What you did is nothing compared to this. Tang Jia feels like leaving everything and just walking away, but then she thinks of her dad, who while saving her has become a victim of such a big disease, and she has to be his support. Here she tells him, I admit my mistake in front of you. I beg you to forgive me. Tell me what I should do. Stop taking revenge on me. Forgive me. And he places a model of his own building in front of her and says, this is my building. On the 21st floor, there's a rooftop. Go and jump off it. Then maybe I'll forgive you. Tang Jia realized that he was going crazy with anger and would never forgive her. Now she quietly leaves his house. It was raining here and no taxi was stopping. Just then she starts to remember that once Yaxi had promised her, I will never let you get wet in the rain. And Yaxi also remembered this promise today. He also picks up an umbrella and runs after her. But by then Lu had arrived. He gets her in his car and takes her away. Yaxi, who had come there to care for her, might have even forgiven her. But after seeing all this, all his wounds become fresh again. His servant brings him an umbrella and he throws his own away. He became very sad.
On the other side, Tang Jia's condition was no different. She cries like a child the whole way. Now as soon as she reaches home, she also gets a fever. When she wakes up the next morning, her dad is making breakfast for her with his own hands. She always used to lie in front of her dad to reassure him. She says, there's a lot of overtime these days because the workload is so much, and I got a promotion. I'll get a higher salary too. My contract has also been signed, so don't worry about money at all. And her dad, hearing all this, becomes happy for a moment. Just then, she sees an unread message on the phone and finds out that yesterday, Lu had sent her a message to talk about the wedding. Actually, Lu was not marrying her, but another girl named Xiaoxi, and the girl's family was not approving of the marriage, which is why he was a little worried and wanted her help. Today he says that Xiaoxi is choosing a bridal dress for herself, please go with her. And at the same time we see Yaxi, who is going with Yishi to choose her wedding dress. And in the same market, in front of a bridal shop, he sees Tang Jia going. Seeing this, he gets very upset and starts thinking, yesterday she was begging my forgiveness and today she has gone to choose a dress for her wedding? But actually, it was Xiaoxi who had tried on the dress. But just then, she finds out that her mother is looking for her and has become suspicious. So to cover for her, Tang Jia wears the same dress herself and tells Xiaoxi's mom, I was trying on a dress for myself. Now her mom is reassured. But at the same time, Yaxi, who had come from behind, sees all this. And as he sees that she is going to be Lu's bride and is wearing a dress exactly like the one she used to tell him was her dream to wear as his bride, he becomes furious again and tells Yaxi, this place is not good at all, let's go try on a dress for you somewhere else. Tang Jia felt bad for Yaxi. She was creating a bad image of herself in front of him. But at the same time she starts to think that he is going to marry Yishi. It's good that he thinks badly of me so that he can forget me soon. But Yaxi, in return, goes even further. And with that he had put Lu's job in jeopardy. Lu had made a mistake and a settlement had been reached with his patient, but Yaxi had reopened that case. Now he was creating difficulties for Lu. Tang Jia feels very bad for Lu and Xiaoxi, so she goes to Yaxi to ask for his help and to apologize for Lu. But at the time she had called him, she sees that many of his family members are also sitting there. His uncle, his aunts, and Yaxi didn't seem to care about anyone. He used to humiliate her in private before, but now he starts doing it in front of the public. He says, this is the girl I wanted to introduce you to, the one I loved, but she cheated on me and that's why we never had a family meeting. Come and apologize to them for once. There, all the people start saying bad things about Tang Jia, and he forces her to go and drink in front of everyone and to toast each one of them and apologize. Tang Jia felt very bad, but what could she do? She was helpless, very weak. She had to do this too. She had drunk a lot and drinking was not good for her health at all. But still Yaxi had forced her. Now she toasts everyone except Yaxi. And this makes Yaxi very angry. Can't you see me? I'm sitting here too, and I'm the most important one. Now he grabs her and takes her with him, and in the elevator he presses the button for the top floor. Here, on the way he also gives her a first kiss, and Tangja, who still loves him, starts kissing him back because she's drunk. But just then she comes to her senses, stops him, and says this is wrong. And Yaxi becomes even more crazed with jealousy. Just then Tangja, who is drunk, sees Feng in Yaxi's face, the one who had ruined her life. And thinking he is Feng, she bites him hard to push him away from her. And then Yaxi gets so angry that he forcibly takes her to his house. There he starts telling her, "You ruined my life. How can I let you marry Lu? Today you will stay right here with me. And as soon as Lu finds out that you were at my house this night, will he marry you?" He was shouting all this in anger. Although he didn't want to lay a hand on her, Tangja just feels like the same thing is going to happen to her again that Feng wanted to do. So she also picks up something and injures Yaxi with it. And in the process, Yaxi's shirt also gets torn. Here he gets very angry and starts smoking again. He says, "I wasn't taking any advantage of you. Still you hate me so much. What was I to you anyway? I thought our love was true. Say something. Why did you do all this?" But at that time Tangja was not in a good mental state. Due to being drunk, she couldn't understand what was happening. Yaxi cries a lot in front of her, pleads with her, "Tell me something, explain something. I want to hear your explanation. I'll give you a chance." But here, it's as if she can't hear anything at all. She gets up from there and starts leaving quietly. To stop her from leaving, he grabs her hand but she pulls her hand away and leaves. Now she was walking on the street like a mad woman, drunk, with no sense of her surroundings. Just then, a car is about to hit her when Yaxi comes and saves her. And because of this collision, he got injured. He was lying on the road calling out to Tangja, but Tangja couldn't understand what was happening here. She didn't even know that someone had been injured while saving her. She just gets up again and starts leaving from there. Well, now she goes home and falls asleep. The next day when her intoxication wears off, she comes to her senses, but she didn't remember anything about yesterday. Whereas Yaxi, while saving her, had ended up in the hospital himself and was asking about Tangja. And at this, his mother gets very annoyed and says, "Why don't you accept that she doesn't care about you? You saved her and she left you and went away as if nothing had happened." He says a lot. "She was drunk, mom, she had no idea. And I'm sure that as soon as she finds out, she will definitely come to the hospital to see me." But his mom says, "For God's sake, leave this girl alone." Meanwhile, when Tangja was sitting in the office, her boss comes and yells at her a lot, saying, "Did you have a fight with Mr. Yaxi because of which the company is in a crisis right now? Until you bring an apology letter from him, we are not going to forgive you. If you can't bring it, then consider yourself fired from this job." She was already in this tension when as soon as she reaches home, she finds out that her dad had another attack. He was unconscious at home, so she immediately takes him to the hospital. Yaxi was also admitted in the same hospital. Now she had to pay very expensive medical bills for her dad. She's walking in this worry when she sees Yaxi coming from the front. Yaxi is happy to see her and says, "See mom, I told you she would definitely come to the hospital to see me." But here as soon as Tangja sees her mom, she gets very scared. Her mom had threatened her a lot in the past, saying, "Leave my Yaxi, you are not worthy of him. And if you don't leave him, I will ruin you and your entire family." And here she thinks of her dad, that his mom will take revenge. She was even more fierce in her anger than her son. "My dad, who is already sick, will be thrown into this fire of revenge." She ignores Yaxi here and starts pretending as if she got a call from Lu. She tells him, "I came to the hospital to see you." And she leaves Yaxi and walks away from there. Here Yaxi was also with Yaxi. And mom was saying to Yishi that you need to start preparing for your pregnancy right away, so take your multivitamins on time. And after hearing this, Tangja feels as if she's talking about Yaxi and his wife's child. And that's it. She makes a firm decision to stay away from their lives. Now as soon as she comes back home, she finds out that her dad has become very sick and more money is needed for his treatment. Lu was also getting married here, so he couldn't lend her any more money. So she sees no other way than to go and apologize to Yaxi, as her boss had said. And her boss had also withheld her salary. So she calls Yaxi and asks him, "Are you still in the hospital? I want to meet you." And Yaxi is happy even with this. He says, "Yes, come over."
But as soon as she reaches the hospital, Yaxi's mother is standing in front of her and starts saying, "When will you leave my son's life? That day in front of me, you left because you were scared of me, and now you're coming to meet him secretly? How low have you stooped? I can't see my son suffer anymore. Please leave his life. What do you want in return? You are very poor, right? You must need money. I am ready to give you 10 million. And with that, she takes out a check and places it in front of her. And Tangja, who was already dying for money for her dad, is ready to accept the money. But before she could take the check in her hand, Yaxi arrives there.
He takes her aside and starts saying, "You valued me at these 10 million? Is that my price? Have I become so cheap? If you needed money, I also made you an offer. You could have asked me for money." But she starts crying and says, "I just don't want to be involved with you anymore. I want you to live your life peacefully where you're getting married and let me live my life." Yaxi again tells her, "I only put one condition in front of you, and that was to break up with Lou. In return, I will be ready to give you anything, but you just don't listen. Do you love Lou so much? You cheated on me, so can't you cheat on him for the sake of money?" But she becomes a statue in front of him, not saying anything, and just says, "Let me go from here." Now she reaches home, and her dad had also seen that she was under a lot of stress. And she is also looking for her antidepressants, but due to lack of money, her medicines had also run out. Here she starts to act in front of her dad. When a call comes to collect the debt, she says, "Oh, okay, boss. I got a promotion and my salary also increased. This is very good news." She always used to act like this just to reassure her dad. But she didn't know that her dad knew her reality. She could lie to anyone, but not to her dad. She gets caught. But her dad also acts in front of her as if he doesn't know anything. He lies and says, "I will be spending the whole day with your Uncle Chen these days. I'll go at dawn, take a morning walk with him, and spend the day there. I get bored sitting alone here." And hearing this, Tang Jia is also reassured. But actually, her dad was going to work in a factory. So early in the morning, his health was not good either. But he just didn't want to be a burden on his daughter. There, after working for a few hours in the morning, he used to get breakfast. As soon as he got breakfast, he would take a break and come home, and he would bring that same breakfast to his daughter. He would stay hungry himself, but fill her stomach. When she was eating that food with so much delight, he would just be happy watching her. And in her face, he would see a little Tangjia. And just like this, the days were passing. One day, Tangjia gets suspicious that her dad is lying to her, because she had met Uncle Chen, and he said, "Your dad never came here." And with that, she gets a call from the factory and finds out that her dad has had an accident in which he lost his life. She should come and claim his body. As soon as she reaches the factory, she finds out that while working near a machine, his condition had worsened. He had fainted and died after falling into that same machine. Poor Tangjia, who was already so sick and under psychological pressure, cannot bear the shock. She goes home, and while talking to her dad's photo, she starts to have hallucinations. It feels as if her dad is sitting right in front of her, and often while talking, he would disappear. This also confirms to her, "What is happening to me?" And then one day, while passing through the hospital, she also sees Yaxi. He talks to her, but she ignores him and walks away, thinking, "This must be my hallucination." Over there, Yaxi once looks in his freezer at home and sees the frozen dumplings she had made. Seeing this, his heart melts. He says to her, "Enough is enough, Tangjia. Come to my office. My office is on the 21st floor of the building. Come, I want to forgive you this time." But he didn't know that Tangjia was struggling a lot at this time. She started having more and more hallucinations, and her condition was worsening due to loneliness. She would talk to herself, laugh sometimes, cry at others, and just then she sees Yaxi's message, so she calls him and says, "I've become a victim of a lot of loneliness. Dad is not at home either, so can I come to see you one day?" He says, "I was already waiting for you." He looks very happy today because Tangjia was coming to see him, and he had decided that no matter the result, he wanted to forgive her. He also called the secretary and tells her that a girl would be coming to see me, bring her up. And as soon as she arrives, she gets access to go upstairs. She reaches the 21st floor, but at that very moment, her mental condition deteriorates. She sees a sign for the rooftop on this floor, so she remembers that he had once told me to jump from this rooftop, and then he would forgive me. I think I should just jump from here. And just lost in her own thoughts, she reaches that rooftop. Here she stands and talks to Yaxi's hallucination for a long time, apologizes to him, and then says, "Give me a hug." And just while hugging him, she falls down. Yaxi, who was sitting very excitedly waiting for her, just then finds out that someone has jumped from the building. He remembers that he himself had once told Yaxi to jump from the building. "I will forgive you." What has happened? He's in great pain. The elevator was busy at that time, so he starts going down the stairs. And right here, he falls and fractures his leg and hand. When he regains consciousness, he asks his mother, "Where is Tangjia?"
She says she has died. He's in great pain and says, I can't believe this. I haven't seen this with my own eyes. How can I believe it? Now Yaxi runs outside and hears nurses talking, who were saying about someone's body that it was in a very bad condition, what was left of her bones. And just then he's crying in agony when Dr. Lu also arrives. And as soon as he arrives, he starts to fight with Yaxi and says, Tangjia always considered herself not worthy of you, but now I think you were not worthy of her. He tells him the whole story of how her stepbrother tried to take advantage of her and had mixed a drug in her drink, and how her dad had taken her stepbrother's life, and after that the poor girl had been suffering. Debt collectors would come to her door and break it down, and her dad was in jail at that time. And her dad had been sick since then because he had taken someone's life while saving his daughter. She didn't want to make you a part of her miserable life. That's why she pushed you away from her. But you are so mighty. Your power works everywhere, but you never investigated this matter, whether Tangjia might have been telling the truth, whether Tangjia might have been in some trouble. If you used your power, it was only on this, how to bully her, how to torture her. She was living a normal life with her dad, and what did you do? You made her lose her job, and after that her dad went to work and there he also lost his life. How much cruelty have you inflicted on that poor girl?
And here he sees Yanji coming forward, calling him brother, brother. So he says, she might have told you something, but she didn't want to disturb your married life. And what did you do? To make her jealous, you pretended that your own sister was your future bride. There is a limit to shamelessness. Now, after hearing all this, poor Yotzi is in great pain. He had no idea that because of his desire for revenge, he would become so blind and turn Tangjia's life upside down. The Tangjia he thought was wrong was always right, and she loved him so much that she didn't want to drag him into the troubles of her life. She didn't want to put her shame on his head. Yotzi just keeps crying and wailing now. He felt that he could never apologize to Tangjia. He just goes home, boils the dumplings she had made, and then starts eating them and just keeps remembering her. But with this, we are shown that Tangjia's life was not lost. Although she had jumped from the 21st floor, there was some construction work going on the 3rd floor below, because of which some umbrellas were installed there, and due to hitting them, her life was saved. She was in a coma at this time. And then finally, after a month, Tangjia was discharged from the hospital, all well and good. Here, she gives her best wishes to Xiaoxi and Lu for their wedding and says, I now want to move on from the past and live a good life and also cherish myself. And with that, we are shown that Yotzi had not moved on from her memories. He gets her favorite, her dream wedding dress made, and stands in front of it proposing as if he were proposing to Tangjia. Tangjia also reaches home and sets fire to all her and Yotzi's photos, and in that same box, she sees a key. This was the key to their dream house which they wanted to make their bridal house. She thinks that this key should be returned to that house, and she goes and puts that key in the lock of that house. Meanwhile, Yotzi's mom comes to him and fights with him a lot, saying, you're not paying attention to business these days, where is your mind? Forget that girl and move on. But here we find out that Yotzi's mother had deliberately pretended in front of him that Tangjia was dead, but she herself goes to meet Tangjia in private and also offers her 10 million, saying, why did you leave this key there? Why do you want to give a hint to my son that you're alive? But she says, I don't want to give him a hint, but I wanted to bury the past, to throw away every memory. She says, I will not accept the money you gave. Yes, I am leaving the city. But here a mistake happens. Mom forgets the keys in the car, and here these keys fall into Yotzi's hands. He goes to his mother and asks, what is all this? How did these keys get to you? I gave these to Tangjia. Now Yotzi starts asking his mother what all this is, and she says these were Tangjia's things and Lu gave them to me thinking they were ours. So he says, how does Lu know that this is our key? And on this, he had also gotten his mother's entire record checked where she had traveled recently, and he sees a strange address. So he immediately goes and checks there to see if Tangjia is there. But as soon as he reaches that flat, Lu comes out from the front and says, these were Tangjia's things which I gave to your mom because that key was with your photo, and now you go, and why don't you accept that Tangjia is gone? Well, Tangjia had received a very big offer from a company today, and she was ordered to start work right away. She couldn't reject this offer, so she thinks, why don't I just take the job here? And when she goes there, her boss, whose name was Mr. Jiang, she sees him and thinks he looks familiar. Mr. Jiang says, have you recognized me? She says, no. So he says, okay, there's no time now, I'll tell you later. But tonight we have a meeting with the client and I can't drink, you'll have to drink in my place. Save my face. And with that we find out that Mr. Jiang's client was none other than Yotzi. And Yotzi was supposed to come to the top floor, but the elevator was broken, so he starts coming up the stairs. And right here he comes face to face with Tangjia. Seeing her, he hugs her and says, I can't believe it, are you alive? And Tangjia was not even expecting that on her first day of work, she would come face to face with Yotzi. Just then she runs to her boss, and here Yotzi also has to behave in front of the boss. But seeing him, Tangjia could definitely tell that he was under a lot of stress. He had suffered a shock, and because of the shock, his right hand, which was already damaged in the accident, had now become even worse. He couldn't even hold things in his right hand. Here, when Tang Jia was drinking in place of her boss, he gets so angry seeing her that he breaks a glass with his hand and then later says, "Sorry, my right hand doesn't work properly, that's why it shook." Now he tries to stop her later, but Mr. Jiang takes her with him, and this makes Yotzi very angry. He throws his driver out and starts chasing her car by driving rashly himself.
Now, due to rash driving, Yangshi has a small accident and is admitted to the hospital. Seeing him, Tangjia is very worried, but still, she wanted to keep a distance from him. And then here, Mr. Jiang tells her, "Maybe you don't remember me, but in university, we were in the same club." And he was an old university fellow of hers who probably knows their story. And after that, on some pretext, he also sends her to Yangshi's house saying, "Get some documents checked by him. He's not coming to the office these days because he's sick. He must be resting at home." Here, when she reaches his house, she finds out that he has submerged himself in the bathtub. She pulls him out and says, "Your life is not that cheap." He says, "Yes, it's really not cheap. I wasn't trying to take my life because since I found out that you are alive, I want to live with you." And at this time, when he was lying at her feet stopping her, Yishi also arrives from above. And seeing her, Tangjia says, "Look, your fiancé is also here. Aren't you a bit ashamed in front of her? You're flirting with me." And he starts saying, "She is not my fiancé but my sister. And to make you jealous, I made this mistake. And you also misunderstood something. Her marriage is with someone else and you thought she was my fiancé." And with that he tells her, "I never removed the tattoo of your name. In fact, I had an accident in which my hand was damaged and this tattoo was also erased." And with that, he opens his shirt and shows her that now he has the tattoo of her name on his heart. The clear meaning of this was that even today, if there is someone in his heart, it is only and only Tangjia. Here he sees that she is wearing two rings in her hand as if they were wedding rings. So he takes off the girl's ring from her hand and then quietly leaves from there. Yangshi had also decided that he would not give up like this, so he kept an eye on Tangjia just to see if she was settled in her life. He would just secretly follow her around to protect her. Then one day when she was working overtime in her office, she was all alone there. As soon as she gets up to go back, he hides in the storeroom. Here he hears that her boss, Mr. Jiang, has also come there, and he also gives her something to eat. He cared for her a lot. And today, he clearly tells her, "If you are single in your life, what do you think about me? Because I have feelings for you." He had liked her since university days, and today he had also proposed to her. But Tangjia refuses him, saying, "I can't accept your feelings." He asks the reason. "Is there someone else in your heart?" But Tangjia remains silent in response. Here Mr. Jiang realized that Yangshi was secretly listening to their conversation because he had seen the umbrella Yangshi had brought there. Just then, due to the heavy rain, the power goes out. Just then, Tangjia's phone also turns off, so she goes to the storeroom in search of a torch. Yangshi was hiding there. Due to the darkness there, she bumps into something and a very sharp and heavy object is about to fall on her when Yangshi protects her. He was standing there hugging her and had taken all the blows on himself. Tangjia is shocked to see him there. She asks him, "Why did you follow me? Are you secretly keeping an eye on me?" But he asks her in return, "What do you think about Mr. Jiang? He's really a good person, and at least much better than me. I have given you a lot of grief, and now I want you to be happy in life. If you can live a good life with him, then don't worry about me. You start your life. I just want to see you happy." And just as he says this, his tongue also stumbles. Here Tangjia gets suspicious. As soon as she turns on the torch and looks at him, he is about to faint. As he is leaving, she grabs him and hugs him. Just then, when her hand touches his back, she finds out that there is a lot of bleeding there. It seems that while saving her, he had put his life on the line. And then in the next scene, he was lying in the hospital. Here his sister Yishi comes and tells her, "My brother has seen death very closely not once, not twice, but this is the third time. The first time when he made a last call to you, after which your contact with him ended. He had an accident and his right hand was very badly damaged. But you said very bad things to him and cut the call. After that, the second time when he saved you from a car accident." After hearing all this, Tangji also becomes very sad and tells her, "I have no idea about the first time, what he went through. And the second time I couldn't take my medicines, so I had a lot of hallucinations. I couldn't even tell the difference between reality and hallucination. So I don't know what happened to him and how he saved my life." And Yishi also tells her he never had the tattoo of your name removed. It was just that his hand was damaged, so it got erased by itself. After hearing all this, Tangjia cries a lot. And Yishi was just saying, "You two are made for each other. You both have suffered a lot. This is enough.
Now accept each other, because both of your happiness is in being with each other. If you leave my brother now, he might not survive. And with that, she also gives her the keys to their bridal house. Now after that, we are shown that Yongshi recovers consciousness. He was in that same bridal house. Someone comes behind him there, so he thinks it's either my sister or my mother. He starts scolding, just leave me alone here. But when he turns around, Tangjia was there. Seeing her, he's stunned. He thinks maybe now the alleys of his heart will bloom. And here Tangjia was wearing that ring in the form of a necklace around her neck. She takes off that ring and suddenly throws it out the window. He's surprised, thinking she might be rejecting me. But she says, if it's in our destiny to be a couple, then you will find this ring. I don't know where it will go. It might come under a car or get lost in the lawn. If you can find it, then fine. Then I am ready to be your bride. And with that, we are shown that Yongshi had seen that the ring landed directly on a flower. He had found that ring. And with that, a smile comes on his face. And finally, this story also has a happy ending. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.